Personal business. Complaint. It seems as though there are always plenty of things to complain about. Products that fall apart, airline delays, rude cashiers. The list goes on and on. Writing a complaint message allows you to bring the problem to light and request the appropriate remedy. It's important to understand the difference between venting and complaining. In the context of a complaint message, they are not the same thing. Venting is expressing the emotion caused by the problem. Complaining is the tactical, dispassionate process of letting people know what happened and requesting a fix. Vent, by all means, but don't do it in your complaint message. A complaint may be a letter or an email. A letter is more formal and may get more attention than an email, but that depends on the organization. Some companies have feedback forms on their websites where customers can offer comments. Introduction. The purpose of a complaint is to inform the reader about something unsatisfactory. You may also ask for a remedy, such as a refund, a replacement, or even an apology. The reader of a complaint may be the person who caused the problem in the first place, or, more likely, someone in a large company who might be on a different continent from the culprit. Show some consideration for your reader and be clear and rational in your complaint. State the issue clearly and without rage. It's not just a matter of courtesy, although that should be enough. If you blow your stack and abuse your reader, you're less likely to get the remedy you're asking for. It's very important to brainstorm all the content for this kind of message. If you're upset about something that's happened, you're very likely to overlook important information. Even if you start your process by writing a draft, take the time to think out everything you need to say. Organize your complaint so that it's easy for the reader to follow. The model outline can help you structure your message. You should plan on writing more than one draft of your message and going through at least one round of revision. You're very unlikely to do it perfectly the first time around. Your first draft will likely be too long, and it may include extraneous details that the reader really doesn't need. Ask a friend or colleague to proofread your draft to make sure your tone is appropriate, the description is concise, the remedy is clear, and the complaint is free of typos and misspellings. Model outline. A message of complaint should be concise, brief, and focused. Opening. Let the reader know up front you are writing about a problem about a specific product or service. State that you are hoping for a remedy. Middle. Calmly relate the facts about what happened and what its consequences were for you. Conclusion. Restate your request for a remedy and suggest that a mutually satisfactory solution is best for both parties. Thank your reader, let her know the best way to get in touch with you, and give her a deadline. Do direct your complaint to the right person, if you can find her. If you write to a specific person, you'll have a better chance of getting a reply and getting the appropriate action taken. Do be very clear about your objective. Focus on what you want to accomplish. Do provide specific details about your complaint. What happened? When? Do state the consequences to you. Did you miss a half day of work waiting around for the service person who never showed up? Did your daughter cut herself on the badly designed oven door? Did you miss taking your medication because your bag was lost? Say so. Do keep calm and be polite. If you're writing a complaint, chances are you're not in the best frame of mind. But you must be polite. If you're irrational and abusive, your reader will be less likely to take your complaint seriously. Do be brief and concise. Cool down to the point where you can state what happened and focus on the important things. It may be emotionally satisfying to you to tell the whole story, but pare your message down to just what your reader needs to know. Do say something nice if you can. If you've been a loyal customer for years, say so. If you're happy with another of the company's products, say so. Doing so improves your credibility and will make your reader less defensive. Do, if you want something as a compensation or remedy, say so. Do you want a refund, credit to your account, coupon, miles, an apology, a replacement? Think about what would be reasonable and ask for it. Do be flexible. Ask for the remedy you prefer, but express your willingness to find a mutually agreeable solution to the problem. Do include copies of any documentation you have related to the complaint, photos of the defective item and the damage it caused, copies of relevant correspondence, medical bills, and so on. Do set a deadline for response. Make sure it's reasonable. Providing a deadline suggests there will be follow-up action if you don't hear from your reader. Do remember, the person who reads your complaint is almost never the party who created the problem. Put yourself in her position and don't give her a hard time. Think back about your objective and how to accomplish it. Don't write the message when you're still very angry. Take notes when the information is still fresh in your mind, but cool down before you write. Don't display excessive anger. When you lose your cool in a complaint letter, it's much easier for the reader to dismiss you as a crank. Stay calm and professional, and keep your objective firmly in mind. Vent to your family or friends, not in this letter. Don't use abusive language, ever, even if you really feel like it. No matter how angry or frustrated you are, there's never any excuse to be rude. Don't use an accusatory tone. The person reading your letter is likely not the person who made the mistake, so continually harping on what you did wrong is not productive. Don't be sarcastic or insulting. Your tone should be firm and serious. You'll be taken more seriously if you can keep the snark under control. Don't hurl general insults at the company or the industry. Your message should focus on your specific situation only and on the remedy you're requesting. Ranting about the generally awful state of affairs won't do you any good and could actually hurt your case. Not like this. To whom it may concern. In July of this year, I applied for a Jackson's credit card in the store. My application was approved, and I was given a temporary pass to use until my credit card arrived by mail. I used this pass several times. However, my credit card never arrived, nor did a statement. Last Tuesday, I received an automated voicemail message from Jackson's requesting I call back about my account. When I did so, the representative I talked to could not find my account. After much back and forth, he told me that he was in the bankruptcy department! ! And might not have access to my records. He gave me another number to call. I called this number and was immediately put into an automated menu. It kept asking me for my account number, which of course I did not have because I never received my card or my statement. There was no way to get to a representative directly off this menu. Eventually, I was connected with a representative. When he picked up the line, he said, "Account number, please." I gave him my name and explained to him what had happened. He then asked me for my name, although I had just given it to him. I gave it to him again, and eventually he was able to find a record of my account. He asked me to confirm the billing address. I gave him my address, 1437 Wilson Street, Sheldon, Michigan. He told me that was not the address you had on file, and asked if there could be another address. I said no, that I had lived here for 20 years. He then repeated, that was not the address you had on file. I asked him what address he had. He replied that he could not give it to me. I asked to talk to a supervisor. We went back and forth for a while, and he finally told me the address you had on file for me was simply Wilson Street, Sheldon, Michigan. How absurd! I'm the only person who lives on Wilson Street? Who even thinks that's a real address? What idiots are doing your data entry? I gave him my correct address and he entered it in the system. He told me you had been sending my statement to that address, which of course doesn't exist. Poor Erin. We've all had customer service nightmares, so her anger is very understandable. But she's going on too long and providing too much detail. It's not clear yet what she wants from her reader. She's just venting. I then asked if I could pay the account in full with him. He said no, there was another department for that, and gave me the exact same phone number I had just dialed. I told him that. He repeated that I had to call the number again. I told him about the infuriating menu. He said just press pound and I would be connected directly with a representative. Well, I did that, and guess what? I was not connected to a representative. I had to sit through the whole stupid menu again. I paid my bill and am keeping my fingers crossed the payment was processed correctly so I don't have to spend another hour on the phone with your store. The saga continues. Erin needs to calm down and focus on what she really wants. She begins to hint at it here, but she should make it more explicit earlier in the letter. I sincerely hope this matter is resolved. It terrifies me that incompetent people like this can affect my credit rating. I would appreciate it if you would confirm with me that this matter has been resolved correctly. Sincerely, Erin Lelyveld. At last, Erin makes her request, but it is not very explicit and she does not give a deadline. She hasn't made it very clear to the reader why she's writing. Like this. To whom it may concern, in July of this year, I applied for a Jackson's credit card in the store and was issued a temporary pass, which I used several times. There have since been several serious record-keeping errors on my new account. I am writing to request written confirmation of the following. Number 1. My latest payment, October 3rd, has been received and credited to my account. Number 2. My account is in good standing. Number 3. You have my correct address on the account. Erin has reined in her anger enough to make a very clear and explicit request of her reader. On October 3rd, I received an automated voicemail message from Jackson's. I called back and spoke to a representative who told me you have an incomplete address on file for my account and had been sending bills to this non-existent address. Therefore, my account had gone past due. Erin has had to leave out a lot of details. Doing so can be a hard decision, but Erin has her eye on achieving her objective rather than venting about her bad experience. The bad address was the result of a careless data entry error, and I find it extremely disturbing that my credit rating might have been threatened by such sloppy work. In addition, it took me a full hour to resolve this problem because Jackson's phone menus are so difficult and cumbersome. Moreover, the customer service representative I talked to, although courteous, was poorly trained and inefficient. Instead of describing the scene blow by blow, Erin condenses it here. I have been a credit card member of Jackson's for only 4 months, and I am extremely disappointed in the quality of your customer service. Erin finds a way to express her displeasure without being abusive. Please provide written confirmation of items 1 through 3 above by Friday, October 30th. Thank you. Sincerely, Erin Lelyveld. Erin provides a deadline and thanks the reader for his help. More examples. Premier Airlines, customer service. I am writing to complain about very poor baggage service and to request an award of 1,000 frequent flyer miles to compensate me for my experience. On July 8th, I was booked on Flight 678 from LGA to MCI. Because of weather delays, my bag and I ended up on different flights. I understood my bag might arrive at MCI later in the day. On arrival at MCI, I was given a phone number to check on my bag's arrival. I called this number 8 times between 4 o'clock and 11:30 p.m., and there was never any answer. I called again at 8 o'clock the next morning and was told my bag had already been picked up for delivery. When the bag finally arrived, at 3 o'clock that afternoon, the driver told me he had picked it up at 2 o'clock. Apparently my bag had been sitting there since 4:30 the previous day. It would have been easy for me to return to the airport and pick up the bag had I known it was there. Instead, the desk was evidently not staffed and then gave me inaccurate information. As a result, I was without fresh clothes and needed medication for over 24 hours. I believe that 1,000 frequent flyer miles is a modest request given the degree of distress this incident has caused. Please respond by close of business Friday, August 9th. Thank you. Sincerely, Molly Lake. Agriplex, Inc. Customer Service. I am writing to complain about quality control on one of your products, to request a full refund, and to request further compensation. On March 3rd, I opened a bag of your frozen vegetable medley and found a potato bug, not a potato bug, embedded in the vegetables. I am attaching a photograph. I understand it's only a bug, but I think you'll agree it's a truly disgusting one, and finding it was shocking and upsetting. I would like a full refund of the purchase price, receipt attached, and some coupons to compensate me for this experience. Please do not send coupons for vegetable medley. I don't think my heart could take it. Thank you, Malika Johnson. 3 keys to a successful complaint letter. Companies want happy customers, and most will respond favorably to a well-written complaint letter. These 3 tips will help you cut through the emotion and write a letter that gets results. Be brief. Tell just enough of the story that your reader will understand what happened. Don't vent. Be courteous. Use a business-like tone and never be rude or abusive. Ask for exactly what you want. Don't assume your reader knows what you would like as compensation. Spell it out for her. Letter to a neighbor. Good fences make good neighbors, but good communication helps too. You may want to write to a neighbor with a complaint about a problem, like a noise, overhanging limbs, or misbehaving pets, or to let them know about a potential disruption. Whatever the reason, writing a careful and diplomatic message can go a long way toward keeping peace in the neighborhood. The pen is mightier than the sword. Edward George Earl Bulwer Lytton, English writer and politician. Introduction. The purpose of a letter to a neighbor might be to discuss a problem, like noise, or to notify him of an upcoming event. A secondary purpose is to preserve your relationship with the neighbor, and that goal should be in your mind as you write your letter. No matter how inconsiderate your neighbor might have been, you gain nothing by making him your enemy, and you stand to lose a lot. It's very important to keep your reader in mind as you work on this letter. Try hard to put yourself in his position. How will he react to your message? How can you craft your message to make the best possible impression? Even if you are complaining, remember your goal is to solve the problem, not to tell your neighbor that he's a jerk. As you brainstorm, consider what information might persuade your neighbor to cooperate with you. The model outline suggests a strategy for organizing your letter. Plan to go through more than one draft of this message, especially if you're angry or frustrated. As you draft, focus on keeping your tone civil. It's a good idea to show others your draft before you send it. Revise to ensure the letter is clear and courteous. Model outline. A letter to a neighbor should be brief and courteous. Opening. If there's a chance your neighbor doesn't know you, identify yourself and let her know where you live. Briefly state the reason you're writing. Middle. Briefly and courteously explain the issue you're writing about. If your letter is a complaint, let your reader know the impact her behavior is having on you. Propose a reasonable remedy to the problem. Conclusion. Finish your message on a note of goodwill by thanking your neighbor and looking forward to a resolution of the problem. Do. Do assume the best. You may feel your neighbors are the rudest people on earth, but they may be completely astonished that their behavior is bothering you. You'll likely get a better result if you give them the benefit of the doubt. Do check any applicable laws and rules before you write. Whose responsibility is it to trim those branches? Are you really sure where the property line is? The point here is not to rub your neighbor's nose in it, but simply to be sure you're on solid ground before you write. Do explain your perspective and state facts. If you're writing about something that annoys you, let your neighbors know exactly how their actions are affecting you. Does their noise wake up your children late at night? Do the dropping pine needles kill your tomato plants? Calmly let them know how things are affecting you. Do be cooperative. Suggest ways to solve the problem. Make yourself available to discuss it in person. Don't. Don't accuse or attack your neighbors. Your letter should be calm, factual, and cooperative. If you take an aggressive approach, you will likely put your neighbors on the defensive, causing them to become entrenched. Don't exaggerate. State the extent of the problem and no more. Don't be histrionic. Don't say your neighbors are ruining your life when they're really just annoying you. It's easy to dismiss a complaint that's overdramatic. Don't start by threatening. Don't threaten to call the police or file a lawsuit in your first communication with your neighbors. Give them a chance to respond to an initial cordial request. Needless to say, you should never threaten any illegal action. Don't make threats you don't intend to follow up on. Making empty threats tells your neighbors you're not serious and gives them license to ignore you. Brainstorming notes. Brainstorm your content before you write your draft. Get it all down on paper first and then select what you want to use. Alex's drumming is driving us crazy. He waits until they leave the house to start up. Sneaky. He leaves the window open. I work at home. Can't use earplugs because I need to be on the phone. Why the hell should I use earplugs in my own house? He keeps Talia awake at night. Her bedtime is 8:30. It's illegal to make noise after 8 p.m. I looked up the noise code. You need to say no to that kid once in a while. He's going to be a monster of a teenager if you don't. Not like this. Dear Joanne and Martin, Alex's drumming is out of control. This is a very accusatory and emotional opening, which Joanne and Martin will likely find offensive. Holly needs to get her emotions under control before she sends this message. I'm not sure if you're aware how much he plays or how loud, because a lot of it happens when you're at work. Holly hints that Joanne and Martin are bad parents, or that Alex is a bad kid, or both. It may all be true, but she's not going to enlist any support this way. He cranks the music, opens the windows, and just lets rip. It sounds as though Holly thinks Alex is being obnoxious on purpose. As you know, I work at home, and the noise is deafening. Deafening is probably a little hyperbolic and dramatic. It's impossible to concentrate. I've tried working with earplugs in, but obviously I can't take phone calls while wearing earplugs. Talia's bedroom is on the west side of the house, and when he plays after 8:30, he keeps her awake. This has to stop immediately. This message is quite confrontational. The neighbors will have a lot of fence mending to do just to get past this note, even before they begin working on the noise problem. If we can't resolve this amicably, I will be forced to call the sheriff and have Alex cited the next time he starts up. I really can't stand this anymore. Thanks, Holly. Threatening to call the police about someone's kid is not the way to begin this discussion. Holly is very upset, and she's allowing her feelings to shape the note in a way that's not constructive. Like this. Dear Joanne and Martin, Alex's drumming has become a bit of a noise problem for us, and I'm hoping we can discuss ways to solve it. Holly soft pedals the problem in the beginning as a way to ease into the topic. She opens her message with a suggestion that they all collaborate on a solution. I'm sure Alex has no idea how the sound carries. Holly avoids blaming Alex for being inconsiderate. It's quite loud in the afternoons after school, and it makes it hard for me to concentrate on my work. Holly makes the point that Alex is drumming when his parents aren't home, without being accusatory. Talia's bedroom is on the west side of the house, and when Alex plays after 8:30, the noise keeps her awake. Instead of saying that Alex keeps Talia awake, Holly says the noise keeps her awake. This is a subtle difference, but one that might make the neighbors feel less defensive. Could we brainstorm about how to solve this? I think it would help a lot if he could keep his windows shut while he's playing. Please give me a call at 626-888-1111 so we can work this out. Thanks, Holly. Holly makes a concrete suggestion about how to solve the problem without blaming anyone. She makes herself available to discuss the solution. More examples. Bob, would it be possible for you to wait to put out your garbage till Tuesday night for collection Wednesday morning? When it sits out from Sunday onward, the raccoons get into it and throw stuff around. Yesterday I saw a coyote in broad daylight rummaging through it. I know your schedule is crazy, but I'm concerned about attracting wild animals. Thanks, Alan. Hi, Karen and Joshua. I hope all's well with you. You may not be aware of this, but Lucy starts barking in the morning when you leave for work and keeps it up all day long with only a few breaks. Because she's shut in the sunroom and I'm home all day with the twins, I can't get away from it, and it's driving me crazy. There must be a solution for this. Maybe Lucy needs a friend to keep her company or more space to patrol. Please give me a call so we can figure out what to do. Thanks so much, Heather. Notifying a neighbor about a future disruption. If you're planning a party or other event that might cause disruption in the neighborhood, it's courteous to notify the neighbors in advance. Many people invite the neighbors to a planned party to forestall any complaints. Whatever you choose to do, be courteous, provide complete information, and thank your neighbors for their understanding. Dear neighbors, we're writing to let you know that we will be having our daughter Andrea's wedding reception in our backyard on Saturday, June 23rd, starting at 2 p.m. We expect about 50 guests. We will have a dance band that will play for no more than 2 hours. The party will be finished by 7 o'clock. We hope we don't disturb you. Please let us know. Many thanks. Joan and Steve Chu. Letter about jury duty. Most of us accept that performing jury duty is a civic responsibility. The rest of us are constrained by law to turn up anyway. If you're summoned at a time that's not convenient for you, you may request to be excused altogether or to defer your service to a more convenient time. Different areas have different regulations about jury duty, and the smartest thing for you to do is read the instructions on your summons about how to make an appeal. Some areas have websites or automated phone systems that allow you to reschedule your jury service. In other areas, you must write a letter or an email. Introduction. The purpose for writing a letter about jury duty is to ask to be excused from serving or to request that your service be deferred to a later date. In your letter, you should be explicit about which remedy you are asking for. Your reader will be a civil servant who is used to all kinds of rudeness and arrogance. You can make her day a little better. and improve your chances of getting what you want by being courteous. Brainstorm to ensure your letter is complete. What is your reason for asking for an excuse or deferment? What negative impact would you suffer if you had to serve at the time called? When will you be available to serve? Use the model outline to organize your letter. As you draft, make sure your tone is polite and professional. On no account should you show irritation or be snarky. Revise your draft to make sure it's complete and that your request is clear. Model outline. A letter about jury duty should be brief and concise. Opening. State the date for which you have been called and state up front what you would like from the reader, an excuse or a deferment of service. Middle. Briefly and courteously explain why you cannot serve during the dates you've been summoned. Make it clear to the reader that you cannot serve, not just that you prefer not to. Conclusion. Finish your letter by restating your request for an excuse or deferment and by thanking your reader. Do look at the summons for any instructions offered for rescheduling your appearance. Follow those instructions to the letter. Do state what you are asking for, an excuse from jury duty or a deferral to a later time. Do state clearly and without emotion the reason that you cannot serve at the time assigned to you. Do, if you are requesting a deferral, state the dates you are available to serve. Do provide documentation of any circumstance that prevents you from serving at the time you are summoned, a note from a doctor stating disability, a statement from your employer, and so on. Do ask explicitly for a response. Do be sure you're sending it to the right place. If your summons does not specify where the letter is to be sent, call the phone number supplied and get the address where you should direct the letter. Do send the letter return receipt requested. Don't wait until the last minute to send your request. Get your letter out as soon as you can after you receive the summons. Don't complain about the judicial system or the system used to select jurors. Don't be rude or dismissive. Don't talk too much about your feelings. The basis for claiming an excuse or deferral must be that you are unable to serve, not that it upsets or annoys you to serve. Not like this. May 13th, 2013. Clerk of the Court. I have been summoned to serve as a juror beginning May 23rd, 2013. Mike's cutting it a little close if he's supposed to turn up for service in 10 days. The current system of juror selection does not take into account the fact that many people work as independent contractors or on a consulting basis. This may be true, but the person reading Mike's letter doesn't make the rules and would probably change them if she could, if only to avoid listening to people complain like this. Such is the case with my small company, and it creates a significant burden on the company as a whole when a team member has to be missing from a project. It is extremely frustrating. The reader is probably less interested in Mike's feelings than in his purpose for writing this letter, which he hasn't revealed yet. I will be unable to serve starting May 23rd, owing to work commitments. Hence, I must defer my service as a juror. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, signed Mike Enos. Mike Enos. Finally, in the last paragraph, Mike makes his request for a deferment. Except he hasn't phrased it as a request. It's more of a demand. He sounds a little high-handed here. He'd likely get more cooperation if he were more polite. He's also failed to mention when he will be available for service. Like this. March 13th, 2013. Clerk of the Court. Mike has written promptly, allowing plenty of time for the court to make arrangements. I have been summoned to serve as a juror beginning May 23rd, 2013. I am writing to request a deferment of my service till July of 2013. Mike helps the reader by stating right up front his reason for writing to request a deferment and the date he will be available to serve. My reason for requesting the deferment pertains to my job. I work as a management consultant, and my company has just won a contract that will go through June of this year. No one else in my small company can do the work I do. Leaving the project to serve on jury duty would jeopardize this contract and have a serious financial impact on the company and its employees. Mike makes a compelling case for deferment. I am willing and able to serve as a juror starting July 1st, 2013. I appreciate your understanding of my situation. Please let me know if you will grant me this deferment. Thank you for your consideration. Sincerely, signed, Mike Enos. Mike Enos. Mike is courteous and shows goodwill. He's also smart to ask for a reply to his request. Letter to fight a parking ticket. You return to your car to find a dreaded and expensive parking ticket waiting for you. It's bad enough when you know you deserve it, but it really stinks when you don't. When you know you've parked legally, or when there is no signage to let you know you were parking illegally, sending an appeal letter can sometimes get the ticket thrown out. With the rising cost of parking tickets in many areas, it's worth taking the time to write a convincing letter. Some communities have web forms you can use to dispute a parking ticket. Others supply an email address for that purpose. In other areas, you still need to send your letter via postal mail. Introduction. A letter to fight a parking ticket is a persuasive letter. Your purpose is to convince your reader that the citation should be reversed. Your reader is a civil servant who very likely spends much of his day reading this kind of appeal. You can make his job easier and more pleasant, and increase your chances of success by providing clear evidence and expressing yourself rationally. As you brainstorm your content, be sure you have the complete facts for your message, including all the details of the citation and your reasons for disputing it. It can be easy to overlook important information when you're upset. Organize your letter logically and for maximum efficiency. The model outline provides a structure you can adapt for your letter. It's wise to go through more than one draft. Show your draft to a friend or family member and ask her to read it from as objective a point of view as possible. Is your content complete? Is your tone appropriate? Revise according to her feedback. Model outline. A letter to fight a parking ticket should be concise and easy to follow. Opening. State the purpose of your message: to contest a parking ticket and request it be expunged from your record. Provide the details, including the citation number and the time, date, and location of the incident. Middle. Clearly and politely explain why you believe the citation was made in error. Cite the facts and refer to photographs. Conclusion. Repeat your request that the ticket be reversed. Offer additional information. Close your message by thanking the reader. Do send it promptly. Find out what the deadline is to contest the ticket and make sure your appeal arrives well before then. Do be courteous. The person reading your letter didn't write you the ticket and probably receives a lot of rude and angry messages. You'll get a better result if your letter is respectful and polite, and if you remember to say please and thank you. Do make your letter easy to understand. Use simple language and short sentences. You'll gain more sympathy if you make your reader's job easier. Do keep it as brief as possible. Do provide complete information, including the number of the ticket and the date, place, and time of the citation. Do make your request clear. Do explain the reasons you feel the ticket was erroneous. Don't rely on your reader to understand how absurd the citation was. Spell it out. Do provide proof. One of the best weapons you have is photographs of the scene, especially if you can demonstrate that there was no sign there or that the sign indicates that you were in fact parked legally. Include the photographs with your letter. Do explain what your photographs prove. Don't leave it to your reader to figure it out. Don't vent your emotions to the reader. No matter how frustrated you are, losing your temper in the letter won't help you, could hurt you, and might just ruin someone else's day. Don't make any snarky remarks about the citing officer's intelligence or eyesight, or mention anything about monthly ticket writing quotas. Don't be condescending. Your tone should be businesslike, not arrogant. Don't cite laws and ordinances gratuitously. If you've been cited for something obscure, it's all right to mention the ordinance, but throwing legal language around can make you sound officious and silly. Not like this. Teresa Moy, 5666 Live Oak Street, San Gabriel, California, 91101. tsmoy434@mmail.com. December 21st, 2012. To whom it may concern. On December 15th, my vehicle was given an erroneous citation for parking in a red zone when it, in fact, was not parked in a red zone. I am enclosing 2 photos. It would be helpful for Teresa to spell out exactly what the photos show and what they prove. I don't know why the officer could not see what is obvious in these photos, that I am not parked in a red zone, especially since it was not the end of the month. Insulting the officer may be tempting, but it won't help your case. Also, remarks about ticket quotas are typically not helpful. Imagine how tired the reader gets reading remarks like these over and over again. You can make her day a little better by refraining. I would appreciate your help in this matter. Thank you. Sincerely, signed Teresa Moy. Teresa Moy. It may seem self-evident, but Teresa should request explicitly that she wants the citation reversed. Also, Teresa should supply more information in her letter, including the citation number and her vehicle license number. The easier you make it for the reader, the more likely she is to help you. Like this. Teresa Moy, 5666 Live Oak Street, San Gabriel, California, 91101. tsmoy434@mmail.com. December 21st, 2012. Citation number ZY00987U27PT. Date of citation December 15th, 2012. Vehicle license NNU838. This is a good way to provide the key information in an easily scanned format. Parking ticket dispute. To whom it may concern. My vehicle was issued the above-numbered ticket for parking in a red zone. However, my car was not, in fact, parked in a red zone, and the citation was issued in error. I would appreciate it if you would cancel this citation. Teresa does a good job of explaining the problem and making her request explicit in the opening paragraph of her letter. I am attaching 2 photographs taken when I discovered the ticket. Photo number 1 shows my car parked on Green Street with the citation on the windshield. Photo number 2 is a close-up of the rear wheel. You can see that the wheel is not in the red zone. Please note that the timestamp and date stamp on the photos correspond to the date and time the ticket was issued. Teresa explains what each photo illustrates. Presenting them in a bulleted list with the key finding in bold makes it easier for the reader to scan. The photos demonstrate that my vehicle was not parked illegally and that the citation was erroneous. I would appreciate it if you would reverse the citation. I would like to request notification within 30 days that the ticket has been canceled. It's smart to request verification that the citation has been reversed. Thank you very much for your assistance. Please contact me if you have any questions. Sincerely, signed, Teresa Moy. Teresa Moy. Enclosures 2. Teresa's letter is courteous and makes it easy for the reader to understand what she wants and why she wants it. Note to your child's teacher. You may write a note to your child's teacher for a number of reasons. In response to a note you received from her, to explain your child's absence from class, to request clarification about a homework assignment, or to ask for the teacher's help in resolving a problem, either academic or social, that your child is having at school. Most teachers appreciate hearing from parents if the communication is constructive. Being in touch shows that you're interested and involved in your child's education, and it can make the teacher's job easier. Most communication between parents and teachers takes place through email because it's fast and convenient. Introduction. The purpose behind a note to your child's teacher is generally to convey information or to discuss a problem. Unless the note is very simple, it's a good idea to spend a moment and clarify your own purpose for writing. If you're writing because you or your child is upset about something, it's even more important to be clear about what you're trying to accomplish with the note. If you're not sure, you might end up just venting or saying something ill-considered. Building a good relationship with your reader is key to getting results. Regardless of your reason for writing, you should always work toward collaboration and cooperation with your child's teacher, as well as showing respect for the teacher's professional expertise. You and the teacher are on the same team. You both want the best for your child. Your communications should reflect that understanding. The amount of brainstorming you do will depend on the complexity of the issue you're writing about. If an incident has occurred, it's a good idea to list everything out, confirm with your child that your list is complete, and then take some time to organize the information. Refer to the model outline for guidance. If you're writing to the teacher because something upsetting has happened, it's a good idea to plan to write a first draft and then revise it, rather than firing it off immediately. Ideally, you should show your draft to someone else before you send it, to check it for tone and to be sure you haven't inadvertently said something to insult the teacher or lay blame inappropriately. Fostering a sense of cooperation is often key to solving problems, all the more so when emotions are running high. Model outline. The structure of your note will depend on the issue you're writing about. Paragraph 1. If you haven't corresponded with the teacher before, introduce yourself. Briefly say why you're writing. Paragraph 2. Explain your understanding of the problem and the impact it's having on your child. You may want to provide additional information about your child or the issue at hand. Paragraph 3. End on a cooperative note and let the teacher know how to reach you. Do introduce yourself unless you're already having regular contact with the teacher. Don't expect the teacher to know who you are, especially if you and your child don't share the same last name. Do be polite and cordial. Even if you're upset about something, you'll get better results if you treat the teacher with respect and politeness. Do explain your concern directly, simply, and without judgment. Do let the teacher know you're interested in his perspective rather than just presenting your views about the situation. Do take a cooperative approach. You want the best for your child, and you have to assume the teacher does too. Your note should make it clear that you're looking forward to working together to solve whatever the problem is. Do focus on what can be done to remedy the problem rather than on assigning blame. Do provide information that the teacher might not have. For instance, the loss of a family member or a pet, the arrival of a new baby, or problems at home can all cause stress that can affect how your child behaves and performs in school. Has your child been diagnosed with a learning disability? Does your child require medication? Let the teacher know. Do provide insights into your child's personality. Especially early in the school year, the teacher might not know your child very well. Help the teacher understand who your kid is. Do let the teacher know how your child feels about the situation. Do try to keep your note as concise as possible. Teachers have a tremendous amount of work to do outside classroom time, so be respectful of their time. Do, if you can, include a positive comment about the teacher's work or your child's experience in the teacher's class. Doing so will foster goodwill and cooperation. Don't lose your temper. It's natural to be very protective of our children, but showing anger is rarely the best way to solve a problem, and it's never the best way to engage the cooperation of others. If you feel very angry, wait until you cool down a bit before you write your note. Don't assign blame. The focus of your note should be to engage the teacher in a cooperative effort to solve whatever problem has occurred. If you blame the teacher, it is natural for the teacher to become defensive, and it becomes much harder to solve the problem. If there is a problem in the classroom or with your child, it's only natural to believe your child's version of events. But try to keep your mind open to the possibility that a misunderstanding has occurred, at least until you've had the chance to communicate with the teacher. Don't say anything to suggest that the teacher is insensitive to your child's feelings or that the problem arises from the teacher's lack of understanding of your child. Don't be disrespectful or condescending. Teachers are professionals and deserve to be treated as such. Don't be high-handed. Teachers do not work for you, even if you are a taxpayer or a payer of tuition. This kind of attitude is guaranteed to yield bad results. Not like this. Dear Andrea. Many teachers are happy to be addressed by their first names, but you should err on the side of caution if you're not sure. Jason came home from school extremely upset yesterday. He doesn't understand the math assignment, and it's an overwhelming amount of work for a child his age. I must say, I don't understand why you would assign the class so much work. Before you criticize the teacher like this, consider the possibility that your child has misunderstood what's expected of him. Your first step should be to clarify the assignment, rather than to blame the teacher for having unreasonable expectations. Jason has always worked hard in school and done very well. We have never encountered a problem like this before. Cynthia Carter. This comment implies rather bluntly that it's the teacher's fault Jason is having a problem now. This is not the best way to clarify or solve the problem. Also, this message ends abruptly, on a note of accusation rather than cooperation. Better to ask the teacher to get in touch with you so you can talk over the problem together. Like this. Dear Ms. Taylor, if you haven't corresponded with the teacher before, it's a nice courtesy to address her formally rather than by her first name. I'm Jason Carter Brinkman's mom. I'm hoping you can help clear up some confusion we're having. Jason came home extremely upset yesterday. He doesn't understand the math assignment, how much of it is required or when it's due. He showed me what looked like a lot of work, and I'm not sure either. Can you please explain it to me so I can help him? The opening paragraph includes a friendly introduction, a non-judgmental statement of the problem, and a request for cooperation from the teacher. Jason expects a lot of himself, and he feels that he should get everything right away. When he doesn't, he feels like a failure. We're working with him on this. I suspect that if he had asked for clarification about this assignment, we wouldn't be in this situation. He really is a very conscientious kid, and he enjoys your class very much. This is a valuable piece of information about Jason, and something that will help his teacher help him. Providing this information also helps explain why the misunderstanding occurred without laying blame on anyone. Please call me so we can sort this out. You can reach me anytime on my cell at 212-555-1234. I'm looking forward to talking with you. Many thanks, Cynthia Carter. The message concludes on a positive note, invites collaboration with the teacher, and lets her know how she can best reach the parent. More examples. Hi, Miriam. Lily was not in school today because she cut her hand on a bread knife and I had to rush her to the hospital. I'm sorry I didn't let you know sooner, and I hope you weren't worried. Things were a bit crazy this morning. Lily has 3 stitches, but she's absolutely fine and will be in school tomorrow. Thanks, June Newman. Dear Stuart, we hope all is well with you. We would like to take Ming Hua out of school for 4 days next month, April 25th through the 28th. His grandparents will be visiting from Taiwan, and we are planning a family trip to Washington, D.C. We would like to work with you to ensure he does not fall behind in his studies. Could you please call us at 609-555-1111 when you have time? Many thanks. Mei Feng and Stephen Lee.